Fuck. Yo, yo. What up, motherfuckers? We back at it again. You already know. How's everyone's morning going? I hope y'all are having a good morning. And this is weird for me because I never usually record in the morning. I think I've only done it one time. All the other times are like really late at night. Although this is a good time as well, because then I get to leave the window open and there won't be so many cars passing by. Still. But, yes, we are back. Thank you once again for joining me on another episode of In the Mind of Madness, Season 3. Yeah. 3 seasons. It's been a wild ride. And to be honest, I thought it would take a lot longer to explain some of this shit. But most of it is taking a lot quicker than I thought. I guess because then I realized there's a lot of irrelevant shit that it doesn't really need to be said, or that's not pertinent to the story at hand. But, you know, still here. I honestly speaking, I'm always honestly speaking, but I'm just saying like 100% like straight up right now. I only had a vision up to season 3. Oh, yeah, I know. Right? I only had ideas up to season 3. I don't really have anything past this. But, like, none of it's planned. None of it's scripted. So, what I usually do is, like, season 1, fucking just threw it out there. But in the making of season 1, like halfway through, I kind of already had an idea for season 2. And season 2 happened. And then halfway through that, I kind of already had the idea for season 3. Season 3. So we're not halfway through season 3 yet. So I don't have any ideas for season 4. But I mean, when I envisioned this idea and I had an idea to start this whole podcast thing, I was like, all right, cool. So how is it going to look season to season? I only saw up to season 3. It's kind of where I came up with a general outline. And I didn't come up with specifics until I actually started, doing the seasons and shit. But yeah, throwing it out there. So season 4 is going to be a completely blank slate, which I probably won't think of until halfway through the season. So also, by the way, also, it's the same shit. Is that being redundant? Yeah, that was being redundant. Anyway, I also would like to mention that this whole podcast is completely hidden. Well, I guess it's obvious already if you guys don't know, but it's like hidden from, not hidden, but it's very exclusive and only heard and shared to people I don't know, which is kind of odd. Usually the opposite. Most people would be like, yeah, I only have it exclusive to people I know. This is exclusive to people I don't know. So if I don't know you, you're probably listening to this right now. Or if you're listening to this, I probably really don't know you in person, as in like personally. I really didn't want anybody I knew personally to hear this, because I don't know, once I know that somebody that I have a personal connection with is listening, it's like, man, depending on who it is, I have to be careful of what I say, do you know what I mean? Because then it's like, yeah, okay, I'm very open to people I know, but obviously there's going to be certain details that I cannot disclose to them and that they do not know, because, everybody takes things differently. And a lot of people I know Actually, almost everybody I know knows that I get into shit. Everybody knows that I get into shit, but they don't know to what extent, and they only know about shit that is kind of out there. You know what I mean? Like if I get arrested or if when I went to jail, everybody knew about that because like where the fuck am I gonna go for like where did I go for and disappear for like 8 months? You know what I mean? So like that shit, or like if I get arrested, or or shit that I talk about. But going into detail, like specifics and exactly like the shit I talk about here, like how I go into like explain like every little thing and then, like how I feel about shit and like what I've done like on my off time, that you don't know about that. Everyone kind of has an idea, but no one knows specifics or details about it. So I'd like to keep it that way, and because I just know that if certain people heard or knew about the shit that I was talking about here, either they would tell somebody or they would kind of look at me differently. And guaranteed, if the people I knew about this podcast, they would fucking tell that like everybody they knew. You know what I mean? They'd spread it. And not out of any malice or any like negativity, but because the people I know are very supportive. So they're going to be like, yo, man, you got a podcast? They probably won't even listen to the whole fucking thing. They'd be like, oh shit, he's got a fucking podcast thing going on. I'm gonna blow it up. Let's like share it out of like, they have, they mean well. They mean very well. And then it would spread. And then after the wrong person would hear it. And it's like, whoa. I'm not trying to get famous over this podcast. And if this podcast happens to become well known, then I want the podcast alone to do well, not the person who's on the podcast. If y'all know what I mean, you know what I mean? Like if this podcast blows up, cool. I don't want the credit for it. Like let the podcast be popular, just not me. Or, my alter ego or whatever alias that I'm using on here. That could be famous. But not me. Not me exactly, Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I just gotta put y'all out there. Because also at the same time, I'm kind of letting the people that, well, the 3 to 5 people that are listening to this, or the 2 people that are going to end up listening to this, I'll let y'all know that y'all are in an exclusive club that nobody I know listens to. And it's crazy because if you're listening to this, it's like you're getting to know me on a different level, yet you don't know me. You know me, but you don't know me. And it's like, okay, cool. And it's I know there's someone listening out there, and it's like I know you, but I don't know you. But I know you're listening, kind of thing. So it's kind of like a weird, exclusive, mutual understanding that goes without saying. It's kind of cool. I don't know if you're thinking it the way I am, or if I'm just stoned, or if I'm just sleep deprived. So if I say some next level bullshit on here, just bear with me. I haven't slept in 2 days. It's becoming my schedule. My schedule is becoming to be like going to bed, or not even going to bed, because even when I go to bed, I don't actually like go to bed. I just go to sleep wherever the fuck I'm at the moment. So yeah, like if I'm at my desk, I'm like editing some shit, sometimes I'll just like sit back and then I'll just pass the fuck out for like an hour or 2, and then I'll wake up in the same spot and just continue working. That's just how it's gone for I don't even know how long. It's been maybe like half a year now that I've been, actually no, I've been doing that for a long fucking time, actually, just falling asleep wherever the fuck. But my schedule of like sleeping every 2 days is starting to become more frequent. Before, I would sleep maybe just like an hour or 2 a night, sometimes 4 at the most if I'm lucky. But now it's just like I just go 2 days without sleep, and then after I'll sleep for like a good while. And that's why I'm trying not to, because I don't want to, like, yeah, okay, I'll stay up, I'll get shit done for 2 days straight, but then I don't want to waste the next day. At least when I was sleeping for every 1 or 2 hours, 4 hours the most, I'd still be able to get, a good amount of the day. But if I don't sleep for 2 days and then I sleep for the next day, I sleep for like I waste like half the day the next day, rather than just like maybe 1 or 2 hours. And I don't like that. I don't even like sleeping to begin with. I've mentioned it here before, I think. Man, there's a lot of things I mentioned on here that I forget about. I should write these down, but I don't even write shit because I ain't got time. My seconds, minutes, hours. Yeah, no. If you know, you know. But yeah, I don't even fucking like sleep. Ever since I was a kid, I fucking hated sleep. I know people, and personally, and like I know there's people out there that just absolutely love sleep. And if they could sleep their whole fucking entire life, they would. I don't understand that. I can't understand that, because then it's like, man, what are you doing when you're sleeping? Like, okay, cool, your body's doing all this like, ooh, fancy healing regenerative shit. But what are you really getting done when you're sleeping? Nothing. And yeah. And some people call me, like, I have been lazy in the past, but come on, the people that love to sleep, those are the truly lazy people. You know what I mean? They're the lazy ones at heart. They just don't put it out that. You know what I mean? People that love to sleep, they'll work hard, and then no one will ever know that they love sleep, and no one will ever know their true, deep down, lazy ass nature, right? For people like me that love sleep, but I've had my lazy moments. I show them out, like, sometimes even things. So some people will call me lazy, but I'm not. At heart, I am just a fucking 24/7 wanna be awake all fucking day kind of person, I only have lazy tendencies sometimes. Especially, it's only when I fucking find something pointless or something that I can put off, then I'll be a little lazy about it. Otherwise, like, I'm not like lazy in the general sense. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about, but yeah, you do get what I'm saying? I hope y'all get what I'm saying. Yeah. So, fuck. Bear with me on this one. If I've got some, I don't know, stupid bullshit that I talk about. But, okay, there's the introduction, yes. Back to the fucking episode. Today, on this episode, we'll be talking about more fucking errors and mistakes and fumbles and mishaps and fucking, screw ups and fuck ups and all of that. Every name in the book, anything you want to call it. That's what we talking about. Fuck ups. Yeah. Today, specifically, I'm going to talk about one of my... I was thinking about actually going... each episode gets a little bit more serious and serious. I was like, why am I going to organize it that way? You know what I mean? And just like fucking... I guess still connect all the episodes somehow. But... I still want to... Yeah. Still kind of keep the excitement. I don't want it gradual. Kind of just... Yeah, whatever the fuck, that's exciting, or like whatever connects to the last one, or that, I don't know. See how much thought I put into this? Not really much. It's just most of the time it's like, okay, I want this, and then I kind of want it here. Now that's it. And then once I get here, I'll figure out how to do that. So that's what I'm trying to do. Well, not trying to do, but that is what I'm doing. But today, since we talked about my first fuck up in Montreal, my first court case, and that fucking stupid travel time, I'm going to talk about my second. Yeah, we're going to talk about Montreal again. My number 2 Montreal mishap. But this time, it's weird because it's kind of like a Montreal mishap, but it's not. This was one of the more major or serious offenses or arrests, I guess, that I had. This is actually quite a long story, so I'm thinking it might be a long story. It actually might not be, but there's a lot that I should explain. There's a lot that needs to be explained for you to kind of understand why it went this way and why it happened this way and how it happened this way. Because, yeah, kind of like a little precursor story that I have to explain. But there's a lot that went into this. And it's just, and the reason it happened was there were indirect events. There were events that indirectly affected like the outcome of this, that made it this way. So like there was maybe 2 days worth of fucking shit that happened that kind of steered that day towards the fucking outcome of us getting fucked up, you know. So we're gonna start with that. I'm just giving you a bucket thing, heads up kind of thing. So yeah, this one's gonna connect to Montreal, and then I think there was a third Montreal one, but I gotta think about that one because I'm not sure if I'm just mixing up my days, because I am terrible with years and dates and all that shit. But yeah, this one, I call it a Montreal. I categorize it within the Montreal mishap section because this one, we didn't even make it to Montreal, but we were on the way there and the intention was Montreal and we got close enough, I guess. Okay, we didn't get close enough, but we were on the way there. The intention was Montreal, so that's why I categorize it. Okay, so this story, I gotta start with, I said 2 days prior to this, but this, actually the reason we went to Montreal was triggered like fucking a week or two before, actually. So I'm gonna start there. And man, okay, let me think about this, because then there's gotta explain. Okay, when I explain the beginning of this story, I have to explain it, because then it's just either I come off, well, I could care less if I come off a dick, but like it's like kind of makes me look, not makes me look, but fuck. Yeah, there's a context to it, and there's a reason why I did what I did, and there's a reason why that led into what happened, and then that led into the reason we went to Montreal, and then that, you know, so there's the 4 parts, there's like the steps to it, I guess, timeline. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna shut the fuck up and just fucking go into it now. So it started with a robbery, actually. So it's ironically, it's not ironic, but surprisingly, it's in the book that I haven't gone back to yet, but will. The book that I'm writing. It's legit the beginning. It's the reasoning and kind of the happening around it in the book is kind of different. I'm dramatizing it, obviously, for entertainment purposes, but like what I'm gonna tell you here is the legit 100% truth of what happened, factual shit right now. If anyone tells you differently, it's bullshit, because this is like the real happening of that story. Okay, so there's this couple that I knew, guy and a girl, right? And yes, it's true that me and this girl kind of had a thing, but her man I was friends with from like before I met the girl, but he wasn't friends in the sense of like he was a homie kind of shit. He was just a guy I hung out with because I didn't really have anyone else to hang out with at those times. And he sold me weed. Well, he was my weed dealer, but he wasn't like the main source that I got weed from, right? There were all these other places, and I was going to like some sort of... This is when dispensaries started to become like a little bit more prominent, more legal here. So there was actually a really good dispensary that I used to go to, but with dispensaries, a lot of them close at certain times, right? But that's why sometimes, and I'm like night owl as fuck, so there are many occasions, numerous occasions where I wanted to get weed at like fucking midnight or like 2 a.m. I want to be up. And a lot of the times in these hours, the hours that I like to operate, like normal people, which is like a lot of people I know or that I talk to and hang out with, they're not awake at these hours. Very rarely. So the few people that I do meet or that I know that are up at these hours, I try to like hit up. But at the time, there's like nobody. Even now, barely anybody. Nobody, actually. So, but this guy, he was always up at those hours. So I wanted some weed at those hours. So I would go get some weed from this guy. And then sometimes I just stay there and chill anyways, right? Because there's nothing else to do. And I'm not doing anything late at night. So I was like, fuck it, you know? And he was an alright guy to talk to, you know what I mean? And he was like, he actually was like a pretty cool guy to hang out with. But it's just when we later on where he started to get a little bit weird. I think it was the meth that kind of hit him up, that kind of fucked him up a bit, and that's when it started to get like, you know, he started to act differently, kind of thing. And me and his girl actually did start noticing that too. We talked about it, but you know, because he started doing this thing where it's like he would start telling you shit that like it's kind of hard to explain, but he would say something about you that he would think is like true or some shit. So like, for example, like me trying to be like, yeah, and I'd be telling a story, but then he'd be like, yeah, nah, you know what, the real reason you did that is because of this, and then because you actually wanted to do da. And I'd be like, no, none of that's true. He's like, yeah, you just think it's not true, but deep down, come on. And then he'd start talking as if he knew you better than you knew yourself. And for me, if some people maybe, but for me, nah, fucker. Dog, for that, someone like that to claim that they know me, or like to insinuate that they knew me better than myself, you haven't earned that title yet, bro. You haven't got to that. That's way above your pay grade. You can't say that shit about me. There's very few people in this world that could say that about me, and I would agree. But for him, nah. But he never said that shit. But then obviously, like, he's hyped up on fucking ice and shit, so like he's not, like, he's gonna think he's right. It's like this overconfidence thing that this shit gives you when you smoke it. And like, man, when I would disagree with him or try to like disprove him, like, it would get into a huge... I was like, I'm not dealing with that shit. I'm like high as fuck. I just want to have a good time. So I was like, you know what, I just let him think that. And at the end of the day, it's like whatever the fuck he thinks he knows about me, if I let him think that, and I let him think that it's true, what's the big deal? It's not gonna affect my life in any fucking way. Like, he's not connected to like people I know, and then he's gonna start talking this shit. Nah. So I let that man have his moment. You know what I mean? I let him think what he thought, because like even his girl, when we would talk, like, she knows like he's spewing shit, and yeah. So it's like whatever. I ain't give a fuck what he thought, to be honest. So I just let him think that. I want to say shit. It's kind of like, yeah, chuckle or like laugh underneath my breath a bit of the absurdity of it all. So yeah, and that's when he started kind of getting weird, and it just went downhill from there. And legit, this guy stopped showering, because there'd be days where I would spend the night there sometimes, because we're like hopped up on ice and shit, and like we're all just chilling, talking, and like I'm up for like days. So then sometimes I'd stay there all night and then go into the next morning and then just, you know, continue shit. And then days on by, like after I stay there overnight, like half a day into the next day, I go home because I gotta shower. I gotta like fuck. I feel like filthy and shit. So But then this guy stopped showering. Motherfucker stopped brushing his teeth. If his girl was telling me that too, I was like, yo. And I noticed his teeth started to get like yellowy and brownish and shit. I'm like, yo, bro. And he like, yeah. And this guy didn't really have much clothes to begin with, but he was rotating them before. Now he's just on the same shit. Fucking, luckily, like, I didn't get close enough to this guy to like be able to smell him and shit. Cause especially when I found out that he stopped showering, like I didn't really try to get too close to him. So, yeah. But I knew he stopped showering. I just didn't want to know smell-wise that he was stopped showering, right? Just, I observed it, and man, I told y'all from before on that shit, like I was clean as fuck. Like I would always be, hygiene, top, on point, right? Some people go opposite. A lot of people actually go total opposite, and they just stop caring about their hygiene and taking care of themselves. So this guy was one of them. His girl though, like his girl actually still kind of stayed the same. I think because she was already like very hygienic to begin with. But then it's like, yo, something like that, and then you dating someone that just like, man, any girl I've ever dated, if I ever just stopped showering and stopped brushing my teeth and shit, man, I would be repulsed from myself. I don't know how she stuck with this man. I didn't see her kiss him like the whole time. Like he stopped showering and shit though. Yeah, I can see why. Me and this girl though, the one thing is like we did have a thing for each other. We were kind of into each other, but I had a feeling that she wasn't gonna leave this man. But and the one thing is like we knew we had a thing for each other, but we never acted on it. Like we never fucked, we never kissed, we never like most we did was like hug and like fucking, you know, sit really closely to each other. Like sometimes occasionally we'd like hold hands and shit, but that's the most, you know what I mean? Never went further than that. I'm glad it didn't though. And I'm sure she was too, but damn, on this podcast and this podcast only, I do miss the shit out of her though. I feel like she was the one that got away, I'm not gonna lie. She was too stuck on this man. I couldn't do shit about it. Oh, if you read in the book, I kind of turned it into like a very, very like, it becomes a love story in a way, but not. Yet it still sticks to the timeline, the source material, and like to the actual realistic outcome of what happened. It still goes along those lines. But enough of that. That's not part. Okay, so when he started getting weird and all that shit, but even before he started getting weird, he was already a complete dick to his girl. First of all, I'm gonna get that out of the way. He talked down to her. He would fucking like he would like fucking talk shit like to her face. Like he would degrade her like a lot and talk like fucking. He would cuss at her, call her fucking names that I would never even call a woman, or I have never even called a woman in my life. And he would, or even say it like indirectly to like a woman or like even anybody. Like I got pissed every time he would say this shit, but I'm not the one to get into people's relationships and shit, so I just let things happen. It's just, you know, it's like that's your all business. I have no business like and no right to even like interrupt, like, right? Especially if they're yelling at each other and they're yelling and shit. Okay, fine, it's awkward as fuck, but I'm not gonna be like, guys, stop, come on, can we just hug it out? Nah, I'll get the fuck out of there, or I'm just gonna like keep my mouth shut. I ain't getting nobody's business, and no one was getting hurt, so there was no need for me to step in, right? Until later on, there's a couple times where, and on top of being disrespectful and verbally abusive and like being a complete asshole to this girl who like doesn't deserve any of that shit, like on top of that shit, he was like physically abusing her too as well. And there were times where she's had bruises and shit, but she would obviously makes up some excuse and shit like that. And it's like, man, the shit you see on the TV and the fucking movies and shit, even from like my life, like they all do that shit. They'll convince you and themselves that It's an accident, or this thing happened instead, or that wasn't him. It's not his fault. Whatever. There was one time though where she did have a scratch, but it actually wasn't him, and like I could even vouch for that. But like that was one time. That was one fucking time out of how many times? And all the other times, I know for a fact that it was this motherfucker doing some shit. Because what are the chances that it always happens when I'm not around there? Like when I leave, and I'm there a lot. I was there a lot. I'm telling y'all, I was there a lot. Like sometimes, like I would just go home to like sleep, maybe like 3-4 hours. Sometimes not even sleep, and then after I just like we'd be back chilling. That's how often I chill with them at one point. I explain more in the book why, but that's not important. So he would fucking do all this shit, right? And so he would do that to her, and I was like, what the fuck? And then it would just happen to be like, and she would get hurt really coincidentally, like within the fucking maybe like 3-4 hours. The 3-4 hours that I happen to not be there, that's when this shit will always happens. It's when I'm not there. She never got hurt, bruised, or all that shit when I'm around. That's always she always seems to hurt herself, or something always accidentally hurts her when I'm not around. So it's like, it's weird, right? And the way she's told the story, or like said it, or like, you could just tell. You could just fucking tell. And I just fucking knew. Anyway, so that's what happened. And he was disrespectful to his mom as well too. I've seen his talk to his mom, and like his mom was just like trying to fucking like send him some money or some shit, or like she would just like, she hooked him up with a job, and like she was sending him money when he needed it and shit sometimes. And then like right after she like sent him some money, or like fucking tell him something or some shit, like he would just fucking go on and just fucking like call her the same names that he called his girl, that I would never fucking dare to call anybody. You know what I mean? Like I don't even feel comfortable saying that to like, okay, I'm not like a complete like bitch, like, pussy to say this shit, but like he was like, he would call his, I just don't like it, you know what I mean? It's just, makes me uncomfortable. Like the only times I'm okay with calling this, like calling anybody or like a woman this, is they're actually like being one, like he would call his girl and his mom a cunt, a bitch, a fucking whore, like all this shit that you wouldn't even dare say, well, any decent human being would never dare say around their mother or girlfriend, you know what I mean? Or like even any woman, or sometimes even anybody. Like I wouldn't even call a dude a cunt, because then at the same time it's like, man, there's so many other options out there, and out of all of them you're gonna choose cunt. And like cunt doesn't really like offend dudes anyways. Like, if a guy called me a cunt, even if a girl called me a cunt, I'd be like, thanks, alright, cool, yeah, I guess I am one, right? I am what I eat. So that's why, right? But yeah, especially women, like this guy would say this shit blatantly more than once, and I'll fucking put my life on the line if he says otherwise, because I know for a fact 100% that he's called them these things all the time, and I hated it. And I hate it especially when he would call his mom that too, because like, your mom did jack shit to you, bro. Like, okay, to make a long story shorter, yeah, so yeah. And then he started like fucking lying to me about shit, and then after he would like, man, one thing I did can tell you though for sure is that he was he's never actually stolen from me, but like, there's no reason for him to steal from me, and I never really put anything around him that's worth stealing, right? But he started screwing me over on prices too. Like he would tell me one price for a certain amount, because at one point he had like almost all the drugs, and that was a lot of the reason secondary to the girl, right? Why I would be there a lot of the time is because he had almost every drug that I wanted to take and that I would consistently take, so I was there a lot too. So yeah, but he started he would talk shit and be like, oh yeah, like discount, like friends, family discount, like, yo, you're my bro, you're my homie, like I give the best prices and shit like that. And like I've been there when he would buy supply and shit, and like I know how much he would spend on it, I know how much he was getting and shit like that. And then I'm like, yo, bro, you could Like, I thought he was giving me a good price, but then I seen him giving the same fucking price to everybody. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I was like, I thought you were hooking this up. I was like, yo, and I've did this guy favors as well too. So like, you know, don't get me wrong, it's not like a whole one-sided thing. All I asked was for a little bit of a deal, a little hookup on the shit, you know. And this motherfucker was giving me barely a discount. Like a fucking $1 or whatever left. It's not even worth considering a discount. It's very little. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And there's times where he would tell me one like price, and then when I got there to actually buy the shit, tell me a different price, and he gives some bullshit reason. And I was like, dog, don't play me, man. Don't fucking play me. And this guy would always play it like he's like I'm stupid, or like this guy can fucking outplay me and shit like that. And I don't know. He just pissed me the fuck off. So there was one time where and this is okay, so I'm giving I'm giving a lot of these details. I realize this is actually a long explanation. See, okay, it might actually be as long as I thought it would be. But there was one time where I was talking to his girl, and then after, his girl was complaining about how she's like, yeah, he's stingy as fuck. He really was, though. He was stingy as fuck. Like, he wouldn't pay for anything if he didn't have to, and like if he can make somebody else pay for something, like he will, and like he'll ask for money when he doesn't need money, and like he would never give out money, or like even fucking, he was stingy as fuck. Just like the true definition of stingy. That was him. And so his girl was complaining about how stingy his was, and how she needed something, but then he wouldn't, like, you know, even give her money or whatever, or like do something. Like it was a really unreasonable reason, like an unreasonable, like he was being very unreasonable with her, and it was something. Yeah, I remember that. So I don't even remember exactly, but I knew it was very unreasonable of him to do. And I'm not even just saying that because I'm siding with her, but it was true. He was being a prick. And she was like, yeah, like this guy always never wants to give out any money or like fork up any cash, and then yeah, he has like fucking so much money. I know, like this guy, I've seen it. He has 11 grand sitting like in his fucking saved up in his like fucking like savings right now. And I was like, what? I was like, oh shit, for real? Like I just acted like it didn't faze me, and I didn't react to it at all. But in my head, I was like, what the fuck? 11 grand. That's when I decided that I was going to rob him. I just didn't know when. But as soon as I found that out, I was like, fuck. I'm robbing the shit out of this guy. It was going to be my exit, because I was like down to cut this guy off anyways. I didn't want to fucking chill with this guy. But if I was going to cut him off, I was going to do it. Going swinging, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, give myself a fucking parting gift, a little goodbye token, you know, to myself. And also, okay, so this guy was being a prick. He mistreated and like disrespected his mom and his girl, right? And also, and like that, just on top of like actually wait. So that's when I decided that it was for sure, that I confirmed that I was going to rob him. But I didn't even think about robbing him until, like, I actually thought about robbing him. I mean, I got the idea to rob him, like, way before that. Okay, so I thought about it then. Because I don't know if I'm going to mention this in the book. I think I am, but I'm going to mention it here anyway. And that's the reason why I'm saying all this shit. Is also because these are details that I'm not going to put in the book. Or I might not, so I don't know. It's like exclusive shit. But he got robbed actually like way before this. So maybe around the beginning where he started to date this girl, he got robbed by this guy he used to like fucking do business with. Like he came over, and then apparently like when he was outside, or like when guy was using the bathroom, he stole all his shit and like just dipped, because he came back and he was gone. And at the time, like, he was telling me this shit happened, and then the girl, like his girl was like telling me what happened too. And then it's like, oh, because apparently she was there, but then they weren't actually in the house. Like, I think someone that used to live there, well, when it happened, like there was somebody else that was living in the same house. They were, excuse me, in this guy's room with the guy that robbed him, right? And they were doing something, and then yeah, so he thought it was fine because he left him in his room with the person that lived in the house. So he's like, okay, someone from the house is here. It's cool. I don't know what the fuck the reason why he wasn't, but when he came back, they were both gone, and then all the shit was gone. And then, yeah. And then, not all this shit, but like his valuables and shit. And then, so, like, whatever the reason is, he got robbed. And it was for real. Oh yeah, and he had like money and shit too. So I told him, I was like, yo, alright, so because yeah, I talked to him, but I wasn't super close with him at the time, but I wasn't as close as I was at this time, but I was still pretty close to him at that time. But yeah, you know what I mean? So when it was happening, I was there frequently, but I wasn't, you know, chilling with him because I thought he was telling me this maybe like a month after, right? Yeah, a month after that the guy robbed him. And I was like, oh shit, like apparently I was there the day it happened. It's just that I left early, so I didn't actually know that it happened. And then yeah, there was a lot of shit that happened in between. Anyway, fuck. So point is, yeah, I told him, I was like, yo, so then what the fuck? Like, why are you, like, you get him? I was like, you know where he is? He's like, yeah. I was like, so you got him? He's like, well, no. And I was like, what? I was like, what the fuck? So when are we gonna get? I was like, yo, you need some help? You want backup? Whatever. He's like, no, don't worry about it. I was like, okay, so what? And then he's like, yo, don't worry. And then he had some stupid bullshit explanation about how he doesn't want to waste his time and shit like that. I was like, yo, you can't be talking like that. You like, this guy was a drug dealer. He is a drug dealer, and I'm not gonna lie, he had a lot of customers and shit, because I've chilled at his place for like a whole day straight, and like I've seen the amount of people that come in and out of there within like a week and shit. I was like, he has a lot of people, like, and so I understand the money, and I know how much he had, but like so I was like, yo, so you're pretty like well known. You got a lot of customers, a lot of fucking shit, and so your name's out there, and someone's gonna rob you, and you ain't gonna do shit about it. And then you're talking all this shit. I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to waste my time or whatever. Or he's like, I can't. He's like, oh, I don't want to, use my energy or some shit like that. He has some fucking bullshit excuse. At that point, there is no excuse, except for like you're a pussy ass, or like you fucking, like, And the thing is, it's like he wasn't big enough to, he's like, to kind of just shoo it off. You know what I mean? Like he was still at that level where he's like, he had to prove that he meant business. Cause yeah, he was like well known and shit, but like he was a scrawny fucking dude. And yeah, he would play like this tough guy, like act and shit like that. But when it would come down to it, like he would never act and shit like that. And like, man, he did, yeah. So I was still trying to understand. I was like, so what the fuck? So you're not gonna like whatever? And then yeah, so they were trying to explain to me there's some fucking reason, some shit like that, like fucking Gandhi ass, fucking pacifist, whatever the fuck. I don't know. Either way, he can explain that to everybody out there. Even if it was a legit reason, but it wasn't, and he did absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. A man of the streets, a drug dealer, getting robbed. Where have you heard that? Where a drug dealer gets robbed and doesn't do shit about it. Every day, like, yo, I was like telling him, I was like, yo, let's go look for fucking this guy. I was like, we can easily find out where he is. Like, we know who he knows, and then like he's in the area a lot. Like, I could like fucking, yo, let me look into it. He's like, nah, don't do it, man. Whatever. He didn't want to do it. And I was like, fucking God. I thought about working with this guy or like partnering up with him, getting like some money and shit like that. But after that, I was like, nah, I ain't working with this motherfucker. I was like, if anything was to go down between us, he ain't gonna do shit. And I was like, I'm gonna end up having to like fucking deal with this bullshit. And I was like, nah, I'll deal. If I had to do it for myself, I'll deal with it. But I'm not gonna deal with it for somebody else, you know, especially not this motherfucker, right? And I was like, what the fuck? So that's when I was like, nah, I don't work with this guy. And that's when I thought about it too, because this guy got robbed, and he didn't do shit about it. And man, you do that kind of shit when you in the streets, like people's gonna think you weak. And unless you can back it up and people know it, people need to know you can back that up. And you need to show people that you can back that up, or they're gonna fucking do that shit. They're gonna end up robbing you and shit. And that's when you need to fucking show me you can back it up. And this was a crucial moment. And like, you know, in fucking street politics, man. Like, this is street politics. You gotta fucking know. You gotta, like, people have to know that you mean business, or else people will fuck around with you, man. And you have moments in that kind of like lifestyle. There are moments where you are able to show a display of that action, that force, that you can back shit up, that you can walk the walk and not just talk the talk. And those are the moments where you have to actually, this is your like show of power, your move. Like, this is like the most important moment sometimes that'll make or break you as a street businessman. You know what I mean? As a businessman on the street. And like those are the moments that will define who you are and your identity. Whether you agree with it or not, those are the facts. And to anybody that's like leading or on top, or like that has their own thing going, it's how you react to shit. And people are always going to look to you to see how you would deal with certain things. And because then that's when most people get to know what a person is really made out of. And with such defining moments, why would you not want to show, like, why would you not want to put on like a proper display and like properly show people, you know? And that's why you got to put a lot of fucking effort into it. Why would you not want to do anything about it when that's legit one of the defining moments that will like let the people know what's up? And that's when you send a message. Why would you? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to think of the word and shit, but like these are the times where you can like easily send a message to people through through an action. You know what I mean? By just doing something, you send out like a really strong message, and those are the times where like their eyes are on you the most. So you really got to think carefully about what you want to do with that. And so that's what happened. He had one of those moments. This guy was like legit handed one of these moments. And mind you, the guy that stole from him was some fucking tall, lanky ass white dude. Like, he was a meth head too, so like I understand why he did what he did, but like I'm not blaming the guy. This time I'm like fucking on my so-called dude at the moment for not doing shit. I'm blaming him right now. I don't blame the guy for robbing him, man. The game's the game. Shit happens. But those are the times where, like, you know, that's what we play the game for. And this is what you gotta do. Is like, these things are your defining moments. And he was handed this defining moment. And he said, nah. And when you neglect or ignore these moments, that sends an even bigger message sometimes. And most of the time but all the time, that does send a message as well. You not doing anything, you can't ignore the moment, or else it will send its own message. it'll send an automated message. And that automated message is going to tell everybody that you weak as fuck, and that anyone can fucking rob you, anyone can take from you, and there will be no consequences. And in the streets where you are not legally protected by law, why would you not want to protect yourself? You got to protect yourself even if you are protected by the law. Like, your protection on yourself is the most important. If you ain't protecting yourself, then like, fuck you doing? And he wasn't protecting himself. And in turn, the streets, like, he sent an automated message to the streets saying that there'd be no consequence to fucking with him or taking shit from him. He sent that message. Yeah, so, and I was the one who received the message. Well, everyone received the message, but I was the one who decided to act on that message. Right? If I didn't, someone else would have. And why would they get to reap the rewards of that? When I had the best opportunity and the best reasons too. You know what I mean? So in turn, I was doing it for his benefit. I was trying to teach him a lesson. No, I wasn't. Actually, I wasn't trying to teach him a lesson, but in like within what I did, I was like, yeah, I hope he learned a lesson from it. But like I was trying to show him that shit, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to show him that shit, but I was like, yo, that's exactly what like people will think if you don't do that shit. Like, yo, most of the time, it will be the people you think are closest to you that will act upon these things you say. So even when you with somebody you think you trust and you think you know, like, you still got to be careful what you say, because you never know. Like, anything you say, like any little piece of information they can get their hands on, man, they're the closest to you. They're the ones who is able to get to you like the easiest. So like, even the smallest piece of information would be easy for them to decipher and all that. Man, see, I'm telling you, it's almost like an hour, and it's like, or reaching on to like fucking the end of the episode, and I'm still fucking explaining the precursor to the reason why we did what I'm like, you know. So this is gonna definitely be in 2 parts. I'm gonna cut this in 2 parts, but let's see how far I can get into this one. This whole first part is just gonna be the mishap, or like the fucking leading up to, you know what I mean? So yeah, so he didn't do anything. He didn't respond to the call to the Call of Duty, you know what I mean? And I was so hyped, because when I found out that he got robbed, I was ready to fuck someone up, you know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, man, this guy's a dealer. Like, oh shit, all right, let's go see how he handles his business. I want to see how this man handled this shit too. And he never did, and that's how he did it. And I saw that that's how he handled this shit, by not handling it. So, with that message being sent out, I responded in kind. And I will tell you how that all went down on the next episode. Yeah, this is actually reaching its like limit right here, so I'm cut it off here before it gets any longer. Unlike my other 2-part episode in season 1 or 2, whichever one. Like, I planned to cut this in half. That one, I didn't even plan to cut it in half. I didn't even realize how long it was till like we started editing it. So this one, I know for a fact that I'm gonna have to cut it off into 2 parts. So that will be all for this one, Yen. Yeah. With that being said, yeah, let's conclude it right here. So yeah, this is the precursor to all this happening, and this is getting to understand more about me as well. And this is why it kind of shows how, it kind of highlights how much more stupid the fumble is on here. Yes, if you forgot, this whole season's about fumbles. So yes, this whole story is gonna end in a fucking disaster. And for the stupidest reasons and the most, like, ridiculous and fucking absurd and most avoidable, avoidable fucking shit. There's so much that could have been avoided here, and that there's so many things that didn't have to happen for it to end that way. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just stay with me, okay? Because this is actually one of the more this is my defining moment, not in the sense of me having to find somebody to rob me, but like this is one of the moments, and the one of the arrests, one of the many arrests, I mean, that kind of gave me a lot of introspection, and like a lot of shit happened that steered me into a different direction than if I didn't. So a lot of that's going to happen. I'm going to explain a lot of that too, but yeah, this arrest was a defining moment for me introspectively, like within my mind and like with myself and my surroundings. So yeah, this was a very important one. It's a big one. So I will be explaining that in the next episode. So until then, which will be very short because it's going to come out, I'm going to release these at the same time. So yeah, I'll see y'all in a little bit. Until that little bit, keep laughing, learning, living, loving, living, lifting, hustling, grinding, all that shit. I'll see y'all in 5 minutes. Haha.
Madness. This is criminal!